Hello there, Dragonball Infinity. My name is Luke. I'm your roleplay admin, and this is your roleplay update. This is the third video in the series, and we've got a lot to talk about, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. Um, the most, the biggest thing that's happened in recent weeks has been the defeat of the Overlord. The Tellar's guardianship, I guess, has come to an end in a way. After a battle in the Grand Sands with some of his minions, with him still in Spez's body, Miyakota, Rounin, and Lies NPC Smoke defeated him, freed Spez from Tellar's control, and then the following battle took them all the way up to Corrin's Tower, all the way up to the Overlord's lookout, the Overlord's Tower, and the final battle ended up being the end of Telarr, as the Guardian of Earth, I think. I'm not exactly sure on the parameters of that, but at the end of the log, it seems as if he's lost his ability to be the Guardian. After he gets hit by this one final attack, he's crushed into the tower, and all the obsidian that's on top of Kami's lookout and Corrin's tower sort of breaks off, and the old tower is sort of revealed. So I'm not sure what that will end up being for the roleplay universe. Um, I don't think that it was a bad idea to let Telarr become the Overlord of Earth. Um, I remember when it very first happened, probably sometime last year. Um, I was really skeptical. I didn't really like the idea that much, mostly because it's sort of a privileged and very powerful thing, and and Telarr wasn't exactly a good guy. So, and it seems strange to have an evil person as the guardian, especially coming after Maydun. But I really think that he did some really cool things with it, and it led to this arc. And um, no, it wasn't a bad idea. It turned out to not be a bad idea. I think maybe some of the earlier restrictions kept him from doing things he might have wanted to do. Um, but I think overall it was an experiment, and I think that it succeeded. Um, I think I don't know how we'll handle it now. I don't know if his guardianship is completely over. But it seems from the end of the log seems to suggest that he's no longer the guardian of Earth. Rizian has talked to me a little bit about maybe wanting to mold him a bit with Maydun, like the spirit of Maydun. And I'm not sure if he'll end up doing that. I'm not sure if Telarr even wants to be Guardian of Earth anymore. Um, but I guess Rizian and him can talk about it if they ever decide to do that. But it was a really good arc. It was a really good finish to the arc. I personally think the battle in the Grand Sands defeated where Miyakota defeated Spez Telarr, or Spezler, I'm not sure how you say that, was a little bit better than the actual ending against Telarr. Even when the final battle on top of the lookout was happening, the OOC comments were kind of suggesting that you guys weren't having as much fun as you could have been having. Um, but overall, it was really good. Um, and that brings us to our next topic, which is Kanassa, of all places. I had for a little while Balbaroy and Raien, I want to say Raien, formerly Skrin, were talking to me about a plot that they want to do on Kanassa. Um, Originally, their idea was a lot bigger, but I told them to tone it down and to wait for players, because it's really hard to get people off of Earth. It just always has been. It's a central meeting point for most people. It's where most people send themselves and their bios. So getting them off of Earth and role-playing an environment that they don't know a whole lot about is a little bit difficult. Um, I do like the idea that they came up with, though. It's a really good idea. Um, you guys should go to Kanassa. Let me put it that way. You guys should go to Kanassa, help out Balbaroy, help out Raien, and get them going with this, because it's actually a pretty cool idea. I'd like to see it come to some fruition, and I don't want them to just be two guys going through it. Like, let's get some more people out there. If you haven't read about it, I'm pretty sure that there's a linked topic discussion on the forums. I might sticky it if you guys become interested enough. But you guys should check it out. You should talk to them about it. They've got some pretty cool ideas, and it'll be fun. And it's a good way for you guys to pick up some raids. You know, everybody likes raid RPG, especially Spez. Speaking of Spez, Spez's return. That's the next thing. He's back in action. He's wounded from his battles with Telarr. He's actually spent a couple logs now in healing, but he's back and he's powerful. And everybody knows that you don't you don't really mess with lie when it comes to roleplay. Uh, right now, he's working on his big invention. He's getting all of his monitoring equipment set up. He wants to be able to like inject people with nanobots and it give him whatever information he needs. I've talked to Lie about this invention a little bit. It could be really good or it could be really bad for the role-playing universe, unfortunately. It's one of those inventions that I'm hesitant to just flat out auth. It's one of those things that I'm kind of worried could be abused, and we've had trouble with Lie taking things a little bit further than what we first envisioned. So I'm gonna be really careful about it in the beginning, and but if it's something that works out, then you know we'll go from there. But if you don't know about his invention, it seems to be some sort of device like a field that's generated that can reduce the powers of metahumans and ascended fighters and NPCs and things like that. So if you were say T3 and you were standing in one of these fields, your power would actually be like T2 or maybe lower depending on the device. I'm not sure how strong it'll end up being. I maybe end up giving him the option to upgrade it. We'll see. I guess he basically wants to invent these things so that he can create places that are protected from metahumans in a way. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. I'm just a little worried that it's gonna sort of dull RP a bit because you know people already get upset about tier 1 being like 15, and then imagine you hit tier 1 finally and then you walk into a city to have a roleplay with Lie and now you're T0. But you know we'll see where he goes with it. Spez is also bringing in this strange NPC called Aiden, who seems to be some kind of ancient Kaio. He's at least a couple thousand years old. His last log seemed to emphasize that he was over 6,000 years old. And I don't really know what he's doing with this NPC. All of his other NPCs are usually pretty straightforward. This one's really kind of like cryptic Jedi kind of thing. Not sure where he's going to go with that, but I'd keep an eye on that character as well. Other news from role-playing, Dumastin Merit roleplays are totally off the ground. They're on the mud. You guys should check them out. Or on the forums, I mean. It's some kind of colony. The colony's having explicit problems with nightmares. From what I've read, it's some kind of experiment that a military group is working on. There seems to be a creature or something inside of a chamber that's kind of getting out of control. Psychic powers are sort of taking off. So it's cool stuff. You know, Dumastin writes crazy stuff, and you know, Merit's a really good raid RPers. So even if you guys can't become involved with that, I would read through it just because they're really showing you how it's done. They're really good role players, so I would keep an eye on them. Let's see, other small things that are happening in the role-playing universe. That's mostly it. Ragnios's plot on Nick Yellow hasn't really advanced that much. He did post a new log that I've been waiting for, but it wasn't exactly a whole lot of events that occurred. It was more of history and backstory. But it gives some interesting insight to the Psy Hardens. A couple little things that you know might need to be hammered out about like history and demons and stuff, but pretty good log. Rounin has a new mechanical arm invention, and there is one other plot that's sort of forming, but it hasn't really taken off yet. Raburn Civil War on his planet. Apparently Raburn has a mercenary planet, and it's sort of going into chaos. The guys in charge haven't seen Raburn in a while, and I guess they're taking over themselves. I'm not sure. There's like a resistance and rebellion. It hasn't really been fleshed out yet on the actual surface of the planet. We've mostly just heard Bree, one of Rayburn's NPCs, talking about it, and Raburn himself talking about it. But I don't actually know what's going on or what's up with that. Um, so, I mean, personally, if you guys are a new role player and you want to get into a cool arc right now, I would say go to Kanassa. Some of you other guys are a little bit more experienced and want to have something a little bit more in depth, I would go to Nick Yellow or to Raburn, because it's more than likely that whatever's going to be happening there is going to be a little bit more intense and more intensive story-wise. But Kanassa is probably going to be more of an event sort of style thing. Um, at least that's what I'm guessing from right now, and that's what I would send you. There's actually some other things I'd like to talk about, but I don't think we're going to have time in this video. I may just do, it won't be a roleplay update, but I may just do a role-playing video about some of the other topics I'd like to talk about. I'd like to talk about transformations. Um, Personally, I think that there's no rule set for them whatsoever right now. They just sort of do whatever. Uh, a lot of people's transformations are really in-depth. I'd like to talk to you about a new setting that I'm thinking about opening up on Mondays. Probably a different time, maybe even alternate dimension setting. Um, that'll happen before the Age of Ruin. It might be called Age of Legends or something. If you don't know what Age of Ruin is, get in touch with me. I'll tell you about it. It's not huge. It's not a huge deal. It's sort of an archaic piece of RP history that I put together a few years ago, and people seem to enjoy it. So I'm sort of expanding that. Beyond that, I haven't really worked on the Nemesis RPs. The last couple weeks have been really busy for me. This weekend especially was really busy for me. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot more topics I want to hit. That's a slight overview. I'll probably just do another video, but this has been your roleplay update. I'm your roleplay admin, and I'll see you on chat.